I got involved in the ketogenic diet because of my own son, Matthew. Matthew started seizing at 9 months. He was put on drugs and they didn't work, and they took his quality of life away. They took everything away. They made all our lives miserable. They made his life miserable. He was on a cocktail of medications. And it was thanks to Jim and Nancy Abrams that I found out about the diet. And I went to the doctors and I said, there's this diet, I want to try it. This guy in America, he's made a film, First Do No Harm, you know, Matthew's drug resistant, it's not working. And I was told it was Hollywood hype, it didn't work. Why would I want to subject my son to that? Don't you think he's suffering enough? And I was in a very good hospital, I thought one of the most respected centres there was in my country, and I still believe that to this day. The lesson I learned from that is, in hindsight, I was in front of somebody who didn't believe in the diet. So it wasn't the centre, it was the person I was sitting in front of at the time. So I did as I was told. I didn't want my son to suffer any more than he was, because he was having hundreds of seizures a week. So I carried on doing what I was told and changing drugs and putting cocktails in until Matthew had so much brain damage. He was profoundly disabled and living a miserable life and having hundreds of seizures a week. And I was told that he'd probably be dead by the age of 12 or in a residential home. And it was when we got to this stage that I went back and said, well, listen, I don't care what you say, I've got to try the diet. And thank God, Professor Helen Cross was doing her clinical trial. And the same doctor that I've been talking to all those years to me said, oh, well, my colleague's doing the trial, so we'll put Matthew forward and see if it helps. And Matthew got onto the diet, and within 2 weeks of starting that diet, his seizures had dropped by 90%. And within 8 months, he was off all drugs. And if I'd have got him on that diet when I first asked, I would have saved my son over 24,700 seizures. I did the calculations, can you believe? And I was so angry, so angry. And I saw what Jim and Nancy had done in the States. And I'm like, if I'm being told this, I know damn well other families are being told the same thing. So I thought, right, and take a leaf out of their book. And that ripple came across to the UK, and one really ticked off mother said, right, here we go. So I set up Matthew's Friends, and I had a very good support network that went and had witnessed what happened to Matthew. And they came on board with me. And I'm very proud to say that now we're the sister organisation to the Charlie Foundation, and Jim and Nancy are absolutely gorgeous, and I love them, and they'll always be on a pedestal. But it was thanks to them that I found out about the diet. And now, you know, their legacy, their ripple comes out to the UK, and we carry on. So the ketogenic diet that's how I got to it. I'm very passionate about it. Matthew is now 22 years of age. He still lives at home. He was weaned off the diet 9 years ago. The seizures never came back. He does still have a few seizures. They're really small. They're self-rectifying, but he's happy. And that's what I wanted for my son. He will never go into a residential home. He's loved. He's a big flirt. He's my world. And there's not a morning that doesn't go past when I go into my son's room and I'm greeted with a huge grin and that recognition that I don't thank God for this diet, because I don't even want to know where we would have been without it. So as far as me getting involved with the diet, that's how I came to it. And I'm now a very passionate advocate for it. And I will never stop bleating on about it, being a pain to people until we get where we need to go. And I hope that I can carry on the work that Jim and Nancy started with the organisations, and that's what we will continue to do.